Coming up in this edition of Media McKnight, a big new development on AI versus copyright. Is Triple M's Sydney breakfast show facing the axe? Why can't we have an honest discussion on TV without everyone freaking out? And the best stand-up you'll see all year as a weather reporter presents live from an amusement ride. All that and plenty more in episode 6 of Media McKnight. Hello, I'm producer and presenter Rob McKnight. With over 30 years of media experience, this is Media McKnight. And it looks like a win of sorts for content creators in Australia who are worried about AI having free access to their work. The issue, it's been making national headlines after an interim report by the Productivity Commission seemed to suggest changing our fair dealing rules to allow AI research. While the interim report doesn't make any actual recommendations, its message was clear. Changes are needed to support AI investment. But now Capital Brief reports Labor has shelved any plans to rewrite AI-era copyright rules. Now that seems like a win for content creators. But Productivity Commissioner Danielle Wood, well, she poured cold water on any protections Australia can offer over copyright. At the moment, we're in what I would call the worst of possible worlds, she told a packed gathering at the National Press Club on Monday. So, models trained overseas are using Australian data, Australian creative content, and they are able to do that because it depends on the laws of the nation where that model is hosted. Now, that would seem to suggest our copyright laws are worthless, but that's not entirely true. Our work is protected in over 180 countries thanks to the Berne Convention. Countries including the US, UK, EU and New Zealand must give copyrighted material the same protection as their own citizens' work. So it's not exactly the free-for-all the Productivity Commissioner would lead you to believe. And I've got to say, it's a good move by Labor to drop the idea of allowing our work to be used freely by AI companies. It shows that sometimes, just sometimes, governments do listen. Triple M's Sydney breakfast radio show has officially stepped onto shaky ground. Just weeks ago, insiders were whispering that ARN's veteran duo, Jonesy and Amanda, might be jumping ship to Triple M. That speculation didn't pan out though. SEA's Chief Content Officer, Dave Cameron, shot it down as categorically incorrect, insisting they're developing fresh talent instead. We now know Jonesy and Amanda are heading to the drive slot on Gold. But where does that leave Sydney's Triple M breakfast show led by Beau Ryan and Aaron Woods? Latest reports suggest Merrick Watts has been approached about taking over the slot, but the Australian reports the station is keen for him to reunite with his old radio partner, Tim Ross. SEA has denied those rumours too. But let's be honest, these are reputable outlets printing these stories. And you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, a discussion on SBS has drawn fire, culminating in an editorial on the ABC's Media Watch this week. When the feed dropped its Men Debate Masculinity episode, it wasn't gentle. The show gathered 6 influencers, including a mental health advocate, intersectional voices, and controversial figures, such as Clayton Harrop and Dean Wells. The result was a clash, not a conversation. Harrop's words led to the backlash when he spoke about the number of sex partners he thought was appropriate for a woman.
I just find a chick that's been with way too many guys, I find that unattractive.
It's the same as a car. Like, this is a crude example.
Women are not cars, bro.
No,
Women are not cars.
Do you take care of your car? Like, do you really, when it's yours and yours alone, we take a lot of pride.
I don't want other people driving my car, put it that way.
Now, these lines were rightly condemned across viewer comments. News coverage used labels such as dangerous, gross, said it was reinforcing archaic gender norms. Viewers and experts called out the episode as amplifying harmful ideologies under the guise of balance. Others condemned the show for giving airtime to misogyny and reducing women's worth to their sexual history. And Media Watch seemed to agree.
Surely we can agree there are some viewpoints that don't need debating, and that includes whether women should be shamed for having a sex life. SBS defended its program, telling Media Watch,
engaging in the contest of ideas is central to journalism, and SBS does not flinch from debate. The feed's role is to facilitate challenging conversations. This program was balanced and accurately represented the views expressed.
this was an important discussion, and credit to SBS for having a crack. But the fundamentals of debates are openness and respect. And just because something is expressed online does not make it right to air.
But here's the problem. These conversations are taking place online and in real life, whether we like it or not. Showing them on TV leads to a bigger conversation. The reaction to this program can be just as important, if not more important. So asking networks to self-censor, it's dangerous. And demanding what can and can't be shown, well, that's more suited to a dictatorship. So as long as SBS hasn't broken any laws or broadcasting rules, then it should be allowed to have whatever conversation it wants. Sure, there might be outrage, but that's healthy in a democracy.
It's a different take
Oh my God, she's a Republican. She must be racist.
on the news of the day.
A kid should have the right to punch back against a bully without consequences.
Join Rob McKnight for the home internet streaming show that's very different to the rest.
My BS detector is going through the roof.
Streaming live Monday to Thursday at 9 p.m.
I am so pumped for McKnight tonight.
Subscribe now at youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight.
Mike Gunner, who you might remember as a maths groom, has finally broken his silence about the criticism he received during his time on Love Triangle. In a candid interview on McKnight Tonight, he revealed producers of Love Triangle actually told him to bring up maths during a date, even when it felt forced to him.
All right, in my defense, because I'm going to defend myself a lot here tonight.
Absolutely.
The thing is, okay, picture this for those people that haven't seen it. I've never met this woman. I arrive at a beach and I mean, there's cameras everywhere and, you know, production running around. And so I'm now sat on the sand on a blanket with a picnic and I'm meeting this woman for the first time. Now, the producer, my field producer, said, Mike, listen, make sure you ask her if she recognises you from maths. Now, I would never normally go on a date and ask this. I mean,
Now, this is interesting because you did cop a lot of crap for that, but you've been told to do it.
Well, that's right. And people don't know this. You know, and by the way, I asked her the once, and you can see me be a bit sheepish about it. I was like, oh, by the way, can you recognize me from anywhere? And to basically appease what my producer had said. But then we went for a break and she goes, oh, could you ask her again? I'm like, well, we've already been through that. She gave me an answer and she doesn't apparently recognize me. So why? She goes, oh, we want a different angle. I'm like, oh, my God, you got
that old chestnut.
So I asked again. I know, I was silly. I should have just gone, no, that's enough. I should have dug my heels in. So then when you watch it back, it's like me, sort of badgering this woman. Are you sure you don't recognize me?
And it gets worse. Gunner admitted the producers needed a villain. And once they had settled on him, they didn't hold back.
A lot of what you didn't see a lot in that show. It's only 8 episodes and they got 5 sort of groups of people to examine over the story. Yeah. And some of the things that my two matches had said and done didn't make it to air. All my worst stuff did, but all their worst stuff just hit the cutting room floor. I'm like, wait, what happened when she jumped on the beds with her shoes on, like when we first got to the house? Or what about when she called me this, that, or the other and the kitchen went off her brain? And it just didn't work into their narrative of their story. So, I was just there left holding the bag and these girls look, they looked a lot better than what they could have, put it that way.
Let's be honest here, most people won't be surprised to learn producers manipulate situations on reality TV. But what this shows is that producers will leave participants to deal with the fallout after things go pear-shaped. Let's remember, Gunner was ridiculed for the maths references on Love Triangle. But this context does change the narrative in my eyes. I imagine there were a lot of nerves up on the mountain at QTQ9 on Monday night with the launch of Joel Dry as the new co-presenter of 9 News Queensland sitting next to Melissa Downs. It was a solid start for the new team, although there were signs of the presenters being on edge, with a few stumbles here and there. On the whole, though, Bry and Downs made a great team who will settle in together over time. Last Thursday, I spoke to the pair on McKnight Tonight ahead of their highly anticipated launch. How have rehearsals been going this week with Joel sitting beside you?
Really good. They've actually been very comfortable as I could have hoped, and to have that kind of rapport. I feel like we've had these promo shoots and some media interviews and all of that, and it all is part of getting to know each other. I mean, we've known each other for years, so it's not that we don't know each other, but in this specific environment.
And you're looking pretty good there in those pictures together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
a lot of people to get it to that stage.
Yes,
at least
exactly.
For me,
There's the whole team lighting. But I often say it's a bit like getting a new dancing partner. You have to learn not to step on each other's toes, or when one is going to step in and step back, and
tango,
salsa, waltz. We'll see. It depends what the bulletin is. But I feel like there is a natural comfortableness already. And then there's another part of it that just comes with doing it.
For his part, Joel is taking the daunting task head on.
Following in the footsteps of Lofty is a huge task. He has been such a legend of the newsroom, of the Queensland Mediascape, and just such a great bloke. And so I've been chatting to a few people, and I'm not going to try to emulate his reading. We all need to sort of craft our own sort of niche and tone and style. But if I can emulate anything, it's Lofty's presence and just work in the newsroom. The fact that he was always so generous to me and to all the other journalists there. So that's what I'm trying to follow in his footsteps, to be as good a bloke as Lofty. And if I can get anywhere near his reading, then that'll be a win also.
You can find the entire interview at youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. It's actually pretty revealing by both of them. A big congratulations to Channel 7's Sunrise and The Morning Show, which have both claimed the 2025 ratings year based on the number of weeks won. Both shows have taken the number one spot every single week so far in 2025. In reference to those shows and Weekend Sunrise, the Seven Network said all three shows not only stayed ahead of Nine's Today and ABC's News Breakfast, but actually grew their audiences year on year. A rare feat in a competitive market where audiences are typically becoming increasingly fragmented and shrinking. From Sunrise marking an incredible 22 years on top, to The Morning Show celebrating 18 years at number one with the formidable duo of Larry and Kylie, and Weekend Sunrise extending its winning streak since 2006, the consistency is undeniable. And just today, a release from Seven shows Sunrise reached over 1 million people on Monday morning. Unlike primetime, reach is a valid metric for breakfast TV, as people only watch for 15 minutes, and this gives us a true indication of how many people have sampled the show. For primetime shows, average audience is the best indicator. But even Sunrise's total TV average was impressive on Monday, with 423,000 viewers. That's 35% more than today. For its part, Nine seems to have given up trying to be number one in breakfast and morning. Revenue is the key figure for both shows, but Nine seems to be integrating more commercial sponsorships into the Today Show. It's even got its presenters fronting an ad for Westpac in a scene that makes it look like Tim Davies and Danica Mason are getting ready to go and present on Nine's breakfast show. I find that one bizarre, considering banks often make news, and that's going to be very awkward if the Today Show has to run a negative story about the company. Now look, I'm normally very supportive of commercial integration, but even I think this one goes too far and is not a good look in terms of credibility. Before we wrap up this edition of Media McKnight, let's have a look at some quick items. Channel 10 has finally confirmed the new host of Australian Survivor. Get out the smelling salts because it's none other than David Gannett, which had already been reported by just about every media outlet. The Today Show had a bit of an identity crisis on Friday, with the Today Extra logo replacing the normal Today logo. Someone must have pressed the wrong button. But I can't point the finger at others without acknowledging this clunker from Media McKnight last week. While covering an important story about the media bargaining code, I incorrectly labelled Chris Jans, spelling Chris with a Z. No excuses, Just an F up. And finally, do yourself a favour and take a look at the best stand-up of the year. The 7 News Queensland weather presenter, Tony Auden, presents the entire segment while on a ride that goes upside down.
And we've got not too much cloud over Queensland at the moment as we just make sure we get things going. We do have a trough that's brought some cool and dry air into southern parts of the state. Here we go. Elsewhere, a low and front brings some patchy wet weather to parts of South Australia and Victoria. Tomorrow, that system weakens. It might just bring some showers to western Queensland. Otherwise, we need to shift our eyes further south to a higher down near Tasmania. That'll push some humid southeast trade winds and also a couple of showers, a bit of cloud back onto the Queensland coast. Around the capital tomorrow, showers in Sydney. They'll peak late in the day, 15 degrees. Otherwise, partly cloudy and dry for Adelaide, Melbourne and Hobart. Back to northern Queensland, sunshine, 27 degrees in Townsville. Whoa. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies rather in Cairns and Mackay. In the south, widespread early frosts for inland areas, maybe just creeping east. Mostly sunny skies on the coast, a little bit of patchy cloud out west. In the southeast, also a chilly morning. We're looking at a bit of patchy cloud in the south in the afternoon and the possible shower for the Gold Coast. Suburb of the day, Redback Plains, 2 tonight, possible frost and a top of 22 degrees. Boaties, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots early. They'll turn southeast later. In Brisbane, 7 tonight, chilly morning. Then up to 22 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Looking further ahead, whoa, a couple of showers really start to peak in from Tuesday. They'll hang through the rest of the week. In Ipswich, also showers through the week, cooling down around 20 degrees at times. Gold Coasters, showers more likely. We could get some rain, possible 100 millimetres through the course of the next week. And on the Sunshine Coast, slightly drier than the Gold Coast, but still very wet. Frequent showers through the course of the week, but that should ease back just in time for next weekend. Sam, I'm still awake. My lunch is down. I think it's almost time for a strawberry sundae and a Daggle Dog. It is back to you.
I have no idea how you just did that, Tony. That is super impressive and even upside down, my goodness.
Amazing. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. Members of my YouTube page get access to brand new episodes hours ahead of everyone else. You can take out a membership at youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. We'll be back again next Tuesday night, and McKnight Tonight continues every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm Rob McKnight. I hope to see you then.